Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can do the backtesting using the FYERS API, and I'm going to do a very simple strategy. So let's do the moving average crossover strategy. So in this, I'm going to take the example of SBIN, and I've already added the 14 period moving average. So let's do a very simple strategy in which if the candle closes above the moving average, I will buy it. And once it closes, let's say below the moving average, I will exit it. And for the quantity, for this example, let's assume that we can do even quantities in decimal. So we will start with a certain amount of money, let's say 10,000 rupees. And based on that, we will find what is the total quantity that I can trade with. So that's the general idea. So let us start. I'm going to show you the code now. So for this, we will need the historical data. So since we have already seen how to get the historical data, I have already downloaded the SBI and historical data for last 5 days. And that is getting saved here in stock history CSV. So I will be using this file. This is the main file SMA_backtest, and I'm calling this backtest SMA. In this again, I'm going to use this stock history file, and these are all my inputs. So I'm using 14 period SMA. Let's say I have an initial capital of 10,000 rupees. I am currently not in any position and I don't have any entry price right now. So those are just the initials. Then I'm going to calculate the SMA. So the second part is calculating the SMA for the data that we have, and for that I'm going to call this calculate SMA. So if you just come down, you will have this calculate SMA, in which what it is going to do is it will go through each row, and very simply it will first skip any of the initial 14 day of data because we cannot get SMA for the first 14 days. So it will add 0 for those. And after that, it is just going to take the average of the last 14 days. So basically this function here, the calculate SMA, is going to give us the SMA for all the data that we have. Once we have that, then let's go back here. So we've got the SMA now. Now what it is going to do is we are going to go through each data that we have, the new data. And for each data point, we are going to check whether my closing price is above the SMA or if it's below the SMA. So I'm checking if the current data is the closing price is above the SMA. If yes, if it is above the SMA and I don't have any position, because the position should be 0, that means I'm not in a position. I'm first going to find out what is my total quantity, which is basically the total cash I have divided by the current closing price. I'm going to update the entry price. I will make sure that the current cash is 0 because I don't have any cash remaining. I have already taken the quantities, and I'm going to just make the entry date, what is the current date, and it is also going to print it for me that I've bought this much quantity on this date. And then this is where it is going to check for the exit. So it is going to check if the closing price is below the current SMA and I have some position should be greater than 0. If that is the case, it will just sell the position and it will give me the PNL. And I'm also going to put all this result in this trade result. So I've made here, let me show you. I made a separate trade result also, which is here. So this is a public class which will help me to get all the data. So it will have the exit date, the entry date, the buy price, the sell price, and the PNL. So it will keep saving it in this class, and we will finally paste it right in the end. So you can see here that I am adding all the data to that class. I am also printing out the exit, and I'm just resetting the position to 0 and resetting the entry price to 0. And finally, when my at the end of the data point, right, when I have no more data left, then if I have any position, we will just exit that position, because I want to show you a complete backtest. So I will just exit the position on the last row, and then I'm just going to print out what was my total PNL, and we will then also print out the entire data also. So we are going to print out the entire trade results also. So you can see here we are printing out the entire trade results as well. And this is the load historical data, where I'm just loading the data from the CSV file. So let's run the entire code now. So I'm going to run the code, and you can see that we have started to get the results. In fact, we have already got all the results. So it is saying that the first trade comes on the 4th of April at 10:35. Let's check if that is correct. So if you see here, this is the 4th of April, and we are getting the first trade here at Okay, so it is giving me 10:15. Now the reason this is not getting traded is because we need a minimum of 14 data points. So as you can see, this was not the 14th data point. So that is why it is taking the trade here. This is the first trade at 10:35, and the exit should come at 11:35. So you can see here the exit is coming at 11:35 at 778 rupees, which is the closing price here. That means this is also correct. So it is taking the right trades, and what is going to happen, it will keep checking for each trade. So it is giving us the buys and the sells, and finally at the end it is giving me a summary also. This is the trade result. So we have taken the first trade at 777 and at 10:35 and sold it at 778, and this is my total P&L. Now the P&L will keep changing because we have different quantities every time. And finally, if we see, the total profit that has been generated is 198 rupees for about 15 trades. So obviously you can make this strategy a lot more sophisticated. You can add more variables. You can add, let's say, a target or a stop loss. You can add more indicators. All that is possible. But I wanted to show you how do we do that. So I'll quickly tell you again. Basically, first we are getting the data, right? So we are calling this load historical data, which uses this function right at the bottom. This one, to load the data. So let me, where is load historical data? So it should be reading it from here. Once it reads, right, once it starts reading the function, so once it has got the data, it is going to create a trade result. So it's going to create a list which will have all our results for the trades. It is also going to create a list for the SMA values. Then we are calculating the SMA values, and then we are just going for the logic, whether the closing price is above the SMA or below the SMA. And we are also checking for exiting the last position. And finally, we're just printing out the total P&L and all the trades that we have taken. So I hope this is clear. This is the load historical data that I was talking about. So I hope this is clear. Thank you for joining, and I will see you soon.